Good morning, guys. My name is Sean Dexter, and I welcome you to the Mango Grow on this beautiful, beautiful weekend for a altcoin analysis video. Very, very unconventional altcoin analysis video. I have here with me the patent queen herself, Krisha. Krisha, say hi.
What's up, you guys?
As you can see on the screen over here, the Mango Research dashboard, we have QKC BTC flipped long 5 hours ago. It's already moving up, and actually started moving up just like around 15 minutes ago. A little quicker. It's very, very similar to singles. Krisha, these things are moving faster than even we expected. Unfortunately for QKC, I wasn't able to get my entire position in. I do have a starter position. I'll be talking to you guys about why I took the position and how I'm looking to play this. But before I do that, I do want to mention that this is one of those high risk, high reward plays. So be very, very careful with this one, guys. Remember, when there's high volatility towards the upside, where people are looking for those big, big wins, we can also have high volatility towards the downside, which could lead to big, big losses. So be very, very careful. Position your sizing, right, according to the expected win. So if you're looking for a huge, huge, huge win, you don't need to take a big, big, big fat position, because it could, especially coins like this, guys, which are low Satoshi coins. You do not want to get hurt. And I do want to start this video with that, because this one has already moved. And would I be looking to buy at the current prices at around 63 sats? I don't think so. There are better areas to be buying, either higher or lower, right? I may surprise you guys. Why would I buy higher, Sean? Shouldn't I always look to buy lower? No, not really. And we'll be talking about that in this video. Krisha, any thoughts before we start?
No. I'm ready to dissect the charts with you.
Alright, so let's go. We have QKC BTC right over here, and we'll be starting with the weekly time frame. And Krisha, very, very similar to the other charts we've been talking about, the Tenkin, the 21 EMA, right over here on the weekly time frame was the big, big signal for me. Came down onto that 53 Satoshi mark. Well, it came down a little lower, actually, all the way down to around 49 or 50 sats, but I took my initial position at 53 sats, and then I was looking for a few other things while I accumulated my position. But this thing decided to bounce back very, very aggressively already, and now I'd either only be looking to buy a little higher, or if it does come back down to those levels. What are you seeing over here, Krisha, on the weekly time frame?
The weekly time frame, I mean, I see that we've sort of broken out of, that resistance that we'd been holding for some time.
Are you talking about the 61 Satoshi?
Yes,
somewhere around there? Yes. Let's go ahead and mark that out for our viewers. So we can basically mark out these wicks over here, as well as this candle close. We have a zone coming in at around 61 Satoshi to 58 Satoshi. Yeah, we are well above that right now, Krisha. Looking strong.
Yeah, and it's been pretty neat off of those support and resistance lines, right? Currently, so it's looking good, man. It's looking good, and I don't know why, but I feel like a lot of these low MCAP coins, it seems like they have similar setups, and they seem like they have like a good 30-40% move to the upside, only to meet the next point of resistance.
Yeah, and it's usually I don't like doing these kind of videos, right, on these low cap altcoin coins, because they can be very, very risky. But the opportunity that these coins are posing at the moment are just a little too savory, too tasty to let go, and I don't want to hold back any ideas, any very, very profitable ideas that I may have for the community, right? And again, guys, be very careful. None of this is financial advice. Okay, none of this is financial advice. We have to be very careful with any of these things that we talk about in these videos. This is mostly for education purposes only. We're talking about how we find these trade ideas, what we are looking for in our trade setups. So Krisha, you talked about a 20% move, right, in many of these coins towards the upside. QKC is actually looking a lot more juicier than 20%, and I do want to point out where the Kijun is coming in at for this one, all the way at 394 Satoshi. QKC currently sitting around 60 Satoshi. So let's see, what kind of percent move are we looking at if we see a C-SPAN trade? Well, around 540%. In fact, I'd be looking at the flat line of the C-SPAN, Krisha, and that's coming in at 487%. That's 487 Satoshi. That's almost 800%. And this is what I mean, guys. If when you're looking for a big move like this, you cannot get too greedy with your position sizing. All right, this market is not even liquid enough to get too greedy with your position sizing, but just keep that in mind, because just as how easily this can pump up to around 400, 500, 600, 7%. Well, look at what it did this week. It had a move of a 20% move towards the downside before bouncing back up, right? So will you be able to stomach that kind of move? Maybe, if you position accordingly, right? So don't bet the bank on this one, guys. Be very, very careful. So we talked about a move, Krisha, all the way up to around, perhaps 500 Satoshi. But before we get there, we do have some resistance, right? I'm looking at around 130 Satoshi, right? 130
sats, and that's the thing, right? That's the minimum.
Yeah.
Right. That is the most immediate sort of point of resistance that QKC has on its weekly chart, and from where price is currently at, Sean, all the way up to that 130 sat region, that's a good 100%.
Jesus.
Okay, that is only the next sort of point of resistance. I mean, could we let's say stop midway? Okay, now perhaps really depends on the ebb and flow of the general market, but at this point, if you're just assessing probability of things playing out based on support and resistance and the information that you have on your chart right now, this move is, well, the information that we have, Sean, this is the minimum. 100% is the minimum, right? And what is to note here is that the resistance that QKC actually broke out of, okay, not only did we have a weekly candle body close over this, but we also got supported on that, was that 59 sat region.
Yeah.
Right? We had been holding that as resistance all the way since October of 2019.
Yeah, and this is why I wanted to be a little bit more careful with my positioning, as pertaining to how fast I get into my entire position. Clearly, I'm not being rewarded for that. QKC is bouncing right now, but I was looking for exactly this, really. I was looking for a candle close confirmation above that region by the end of the week. Right now we're coming on Saturday, and we have one more day before this candle closes, and it's going to look good, Krisha. If we close green, we just ticked green. Did you see the candle tick green? So if we close green like this, okay, with a nice body on top of its head, this is going to look exceptionally good. And that's what I mean by I'm willing to buy higher or lower. If it comes back lower down to the 10K, I'll be buying somewhere around there. Or if we see a nice green candle body close above its current or last week's candle close, which was coming at around 65 Satoshi, right? So if we close around 69 Satoshi, that's when I'll be like comfortable buying into this and be like, okay, we have the weekly candle close above this region. We tested the Tenkin, tested the 21 EMA, saw a nice strong reaction, and now we've closed pretty much above all major regions of resistance and saw support too. That's us buying into strength, right?
Yeah.
So I got my initial position, Kushad, around 53 sats, and if QKC does see a move all the way up to that 128 Satoshi region, that's already 140, 150% move, right? So there's no reason to get greedy with a massive position sizing on this one, and that's why execution is really important. Holding your temperament and your greed is really important too. Look at the previous candle, Kushad, 2 weeks ago rather. I want to point out that I've been looking at this for a while actually, and 2 weeks ago we had a massive move above all of those resistance levels, right? But look at where we closed. We closed below the resistance, below the Tenkin, and below the 21 EMA. That was weakness to me, right? I'm like, nope, I'm not going to buy until I see strength. And yes, I could have bought low. I could have bought all the way down to at 46 Satoshi. But guys, you can do that, yes, but you also have more risk on towards getting dumped on, and you'll be very, very careful with that. Right? You need to be okay buying higher if you have the strength, or rather if the asset is showing strength. You do not want to be buying into resistance. You want to be buying into strength above resistance, or basically above support. Kusha, any thoughts before we move on over to the lower time frames? There's some cool things going on over there.
I think you have covered it all, at least on the high time frames.
All right, so weekly is covered. Now let's move on to the 12-hour, one of the time frames I really like looking for altcoins. And you can see a nice, real strong push towards the upside now. And what do you know, Kusha? That 12-hour Tenkin, right? The 12-hour Tenkin lining up perfectly with our horizontal coming in from the weekly levels, right? At 61 Satoshi.
Oh, yes.
So now, right, if we close a 12-hour candle at this region over here, it's going to look really, really good, right? We're about to close a 12-hour candle in around 3 hours. So I'll be waiting patiently for this. But it's going to mean that we've closed above the 12-hour Tenkin, above the 21 EMA, and above the Kijun as well. If you look back a few candles, Krisha, you're going to see that we lost that Tenkin, lost the 21 EMA, but where did we get supported? On the Kijun.
Kijun, that's right.
Okay, and now let's go back previously to that initial upthrust that we talked about on the weekly, where we saw massive rejection right after. Okay, so we pumped up above all of those major resistance levels, closed above it. Okay, but this is where the patience matters, right? On the weekly time frames, look at how we got sold into. Lost the Tenkin, lost the Kijun, got supported on the 21 EMA. And this is the setup I like, guys. When we start seeing the 21 EMA close above, or rather move above the Kijun, and then eventually move above the Tenkin too, that's not too much of a priority. And then the roll starts reversing, where the 21 EMA is the candle that's getting lost, and the Kijun is where we start seeing supported on. That's when you start seeing the trend start strengthening towards the upside, and that's what we're seeing here, guys. Look at that ticking up now as we speak. Kijun is now support. 21 EMA is likely going to be retaken, and if we even close above the Tenkin as well, that's going to be showing strength.
I agree. I mean, this is such a beautiful chart right now.
The structure is looking really good.
Yeah, like I'm just kind of staring at this, just the ebb and flow of price action. And Sean, you spotted out a pattern to me earlier today on this very chart.
Yep.
So I'm gonna give you
the honors.
Yes.
Pattern Queen's going to give me the honors. That's awesome. But before we go talk about that pattern, I want to talk about a pattern that preceded it. And this was a massive falling wedge, Krisha, coming in all the way from around the 12th of Feb. I'm not sure if you see it. We pushed up into that major resistance zone, okay, that we talked about on the weekly. And then we had a falling channel, if you use the wicks as well as candle closes. I don't draw it as pretty as you do, but you can see a falling channel that we broke out with volume. Yes. That was a massive move. Got sold into because of that weekly resistance, and now we're seeing continuation, hopefully, towards the upside. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you guys that pattern that I've been looking at, and that's on the 4-hour time frame. So we have a falling wedge that broke out and into a symmetrical triangle on the 4-hour. You could draw this on the 12-hour too. Ooh, we're testing the top of it right now, Krisha. Or are we breaking it? Ooh.
But that's why now this is it gets interesting here, right? Because unlike the other times where we've managed to test the top of this larger pattern, we never really closed that weekly candle over the resistance.
Yes.
But this time we've not just closed over on the last weekly close. Okay, we closed over the resistance. We retested it this week, and Sean, we closed the candle in about a day.
Yep. Oh man, this weekly candle close is going to line up, just like you mentioned, Krisha, perfectly with this symmetrical triangle, probably breaking towards the upside. Oh, this is looking so juicy right now. Okay, so this previous 4-hour candle, Krisha, was very key. You and I were eyeing it all morning, actually, right? This horizontal coming in around 58 Satoshi. We just powered right through it, closed above it, right? This was a head and shoulders pattern that preceded it right over here. I'm not sure if you see it, Krisha. Broke towards the downside. I'm going to go ahead and mark it out for our users, right? A distribution pattern at the weekly resistance, broke towards the downside but did not see follow through. Instead, we got picked up along the bottom of this trend line of the symmetrical triangle, pushing back up to the top of the symmetrical triangle, seeing some resistance now over there. The question is, do we break up? If we do break up, well, it's going to look really, really strong, and I think we're just going to shoot through really, really quickly. Like I said, very strong moves, very volatile moves that may come at QKC. And now, let's talk about if we get rejected at this level, right? If we get rejected at this trend line, where do we come down to? Well, this is where I said I am okay buying either lower at around the weekly Tenkin that was likely to line up with the bottom of this trend line over here, around 54 Satoshi. Yes, it does. So the bottom of the symmetrical triangle, Krisha, if we see a rejection on the top of the symmetrical triangle and come back down to the bottom, is lining up with the weekly Tenkin at 55, 54, 53 Satoshi. So I'm willing to add to my position if we do come down somewhere around there. However, if we do break, I'll be willing to add towards the upside of the symmetrical triangle, right? Because, hey, we do not want to be buying into resistance. We want to wait for the resistance to break, show that strength to all of us, show the market participants that the current trend is breaking through major resistance levels, and we'll see that continuation. Until that break doesn't happen, you don't have your confirmation, and you should not. But again, I'm not a financial advisor. You guys can do what you want, but I I'm not comfortable buying into resistance until the market shows me that strength. If we do break this, Krisha, what is the measured move you have?
Okay, so I mean, if you sort of zoom out, right, of this pattern, this larger symmetrical triangle, I don't know. Now, this is where you sort of come in for things like this. Would you look at this as a bull flag on the higher time frames? The pole isn't
No,
that.
I don't.
That
I would
long.
not look at this as a bull flag, because the break is coming in from a falling wedge, and now we're in a consolidation pattern right here. This is more for consolidation against a weekly resistance to me. And again, guys, this is something I want to touch on, or rather mention. We are still in a consolidation. There's no reason to get hasty. There's no reason to front run anything over here. No reason to get impatient. Just know that we're in a consolidation, not broken out just yet. The market has not made a decision on its direction just yet. So if it does decide to break towards the downside and you end up buying resistance at 65 Satoshi, and this breaks down from the symmetrical triangle at around 54, the measured move, guys, let's scare you a little bit. The measured move towards the downside is, well, all the way back down to your falling wedge, 25 Satoshi. So let me scare you guys. That's going to be a nice 63% move, and it will happen fast with QKC. Krisha, we've seen this happen to some of our community members, right?
Exactly.
Dumped fast and dumped hard, and they were just left stunned. So be very careful. This is why I'm being patient, guys, because if I do see this get rejected and we get dumped on, well, I'll be seeing a move down from, well, still pretty hard at 54 Satoshi, but my risk management will be in place. If you guys are buying all the way into resistance, it clearly means your risk management is not in place to begin with. So please be careful.
So
please
be careful, because a lot of people they look at these volatile charts, especially these low MCAP coins. Their charts tend to be extremely volatile, and people usually tunnel vision on the upside of the trade.
Yep.
Okay, very few are really looking. Very few are considering the downside. And if for whatever reason, say this symmetrical triangle breaks to the downside, 63% hit to your portfolio is it's going to be a bad look.
You don't want to be holding to that. So I'll be looking to get out of this very quickly as soon as it goes wrong on me. And we don't even want to see a candle close. A wick underneath 50 Satoshi, and it's going to be a big warning sign. Any candle closes underneath 44 Satoshi, and that's it. That this trend is done, and we're likely coming all the way down to around 24 Satoshi. So be very careful, guys. Be very careful.
But the measured move, Sean, coming back to your question, the measured move for the symmetrical triangle will take QKC all the way to 98 sats.
Yep, that's pretty much what I have. I have around 97 Satoshis, 96, 97 Satoshi, so yeah.
And that percent, guys, is about a 48% to the upside.
I do think we'll make our way all the way up to the next weekly resistance, though, but hey, of course, I am biased on this one, hoping for a big move. But we could have.
I mean, it doesn't really have to happen in one fell swoop, right? I mean, although I feel like I've been wrong more often than not every time I say that, price doesn't have to go up in one straight line. And what's been happening, Sean, is that it has been going up in one straight line.
Yeah.
I guess I'm wrong about that.
I'm going to pull up your KNC call for everybody to witness that one straight line. Man, this is so aggressive.
That was crazy. But no, charts have been aggressive. But what this is going to tell you essentially is that if the measured move is taking us up to 98 cents, okay, it's not necessary that price stops there, but there is a good chance that we will find a stutter stop there. Okay, if price wants to have continuation to the upside.
Yep. So again, be very careful, guys. We've talked about the weekly, we've talked about the 12 hour, we talked about the 4 hour, we've also talked about where you guys need to be being careful, right? Essentially, underneath that 50 Satoshi mark, you need to start having red flags on this one. If we start clearing levels above 64 Satoshi-ish, well, things are going to look really good. Especially if we start closing multiple 4 hour candles, 12 hour candles, and close the weekly at around 65, 67 Satoshi. My trading view is lagging at the moment, Krisha, so I'm just trying to buy some time, and there we go. So it does look like we are seeing some resistance at the top of the symmetrical triangle, right? Which is why you do not want to FOMO into resistance as good as a trade opportunity looks, guys, because even if it does run away without you, there's going to be another trade opportunity. What you don't want is the market luring you into a trade that looks really, really good, dumping on you, and then you losing Bitcoin, and then having less Bitcoin or less USD, whatever you trade with, less USD for the next trade opportunity. Remember, you need to protect your soldiers to be able to have enough soldiers to fight the next battle. So always think about your safety first. Krisha, that's pretty much it for me. We've talked about upside targets again. This one is looking really, really good. I want to go ahead and look at that one more time. Big move to around 128 Satoshis, something that will not be, I won't be too surprised with at all. I'm trading for that. If you do clear that level, 130 Satoshi, next move is around 277 to 300 Satoshi. So that's another big move from there. That is going to be around another 100% move from there, right? After that, perhaps all the way to around 766 Satoshi, and that, ladies and gentlemen, could mean a 1000% move, right? But this is going to take time. This is not going to happen. This would entail us having a altcoin rally. Well, maybe, just maybe. My name is Sean Dexter. Her name is
Krisha.
We'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, do the mango way, do the stress-free way, trade safely, trade breezy. Ciao.
Ciao, guys.